quickly. I'm going to open my browser and okay. Yeah. I want to prove to everyone what machine learning truly is. And to do that, I'm going to log on to ChatGPT. Okay. Just give me a minute. Now, what am I trying to prove? I want to prove to everyone here that this machine has learned based on certain books. So I pick a random book. Maybe the book I want to pick is The Richest Man in Babylon. So I'd say to this machine, or AI if you want to call it that, give me the top 5 lessons from the book titled The Richest Man in Babylon. My apologies, I need to change this to instant, so it's going to give me instant answers. Yeah. Okay. So this is obvious that it has been trained or fed the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, let's do the same exercise with a book that has not been written. Give me the top 5 lessons from the book titled.
Okay. Hello, Mike.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we're not seeing the screen.
Oh my
We're just seeing
goodness.
your
Okay.
slides. Yes,
Oh,
please.
sorry. I think I know what happened. I must have shared only. Let me share my entire screen. Oh, share. You're not allowing me to share my entire screen. So I think that's what the problem is. I can't share. I can't share the entire screen. Hello?
Okay. You're not able to
I'm not
share?
able to see entire screen. Normally, when I go to Zoom, it allows me to share entire screen, but I don't see that right now. I only see share applications. I think that's the problem. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to share everything. Can you check from your own end? But
Okay, I'll check now.
Just check, but I would just share what I'm speaking to. Can everyone see my screen now? So
yes,
okay.
Yes.
So I'll take the same.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
No, sir.
So I said, give me the top 5 lessons titled from the book titled The Richest Man in Babylon. She gave me the top 5 lessons, right? Now, I want to ask you.
Sorry, Dr. Mike. Can you hold on a second?
Okay.
Please, when the facilitator asks you questions, reply in a chat. Don't unmute. Please, we don't want anyone talking. Don't unmute yourself. Reply in a chat. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I will share again. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone can see my screen now. Okay, so I'm going to, what I was trying to illustrate was the approach, the concept that large language models, or what we call ChatGPT or Google Gemini, or all of those AI tools, have been trained by certain data. And so I come here and I ask it a question. The question that I ask it is, give me the top 5 lessons from The Richest Man in Babylon. It has been trained with this data. So very quickly, it gives me the top 5 lessons. Now, I'm going to ask you to give me, so I'm going to ask you to give me the top 5 lessons of the perfect university in the world. I know there's no such book that has been written, but this is what's going to happen. It will either tell me that book doesn't exist, or it will make up a story, or it will make up a response. Now, see, first thing it does is excellent. It says, I wasn't able to locate a book titled The Perfect University in the World. It's possible that it's under a different title. But then he went on to look for a book called Toward a More Perfect University, and then shared the 5 lessons from that book. Now, let me stop sharing and go back to my slide. But I'm sure with everyone here listening, you now get the idea of what machines are, or machine learning is. If you have not given it that data, it cannot share any experience from what you haven't given to it. Our legal friends would say, nemo quod non habet. You can't give what you don't have. And so that's what machine learning and artificial intelligence basically is. Which is one of the reasons why the limitation of artificial intelligence and machine learning are that if you've not given it that information or that data, it can't give you the answer that you require from it. Now, that limitation got AI engineers to go on and start asking certain questions. And that led to the creation of newer machine learning approaches, which is where deep learning came in. Now, deep learning, as well as natural language processing, as well as what we call generative AI today, were built because people saw that there was a limitation to machines learning information that was being supplied to it. So they started to think, how about if we build machines that have a brain, or that think like the human being or the human brain? Let me put it into context. So in order for them to achieve that, they created what was called deep learning architectures. Now, in deep learning, what they basically did was they took computer models and built them into layers. I don't want to get into talking about the human brain, but the human brain is made up of neurons and what we call dendrites. So every time you want to remember something, you have to send it to short-term memory first. So before it then goes on to long-term memory. So deep learning basically allowed AI engineers to build machines that think like the human being or the human brain. Without trying to make it very contextual or very, without making it too difficult, just think about having 5, 10 layers. And every time you ask a question, the question is taken from layer 1 through layer 2, through layer 3 till you get to layer 10. Now, at some point in time, when you're in layer 3, if the model feels you have enough answer, it skips the other layers and gives you the answer. And then it moves on. But deep learning sets the pace for what became generative AI, or what we call ChatGPT and all of those technologies today. But they wouldn't have done it in isolation. They had to leverage language understanding. If I go into the chart, I would see that there are some people from the northern part of Nigeria, there are some people from the eastern part of Nigeria, and there are also people from Lagos and the western part of Nigeria. We all we have different dialects and different languages, right? Now, there has to be a common language that all of us understand. And that would either be that would either be the English language or what we call Pidgin English. So for us to be able to communicate across the three different regions, we would have to speak a common unifying language. Now, natural language processing helps us fix that problem. What was basically done was we took computers and got computers to understand how humans talk, how humans write, and we now enabled computer to be able to understand human language. That's what became natural language processing. Now, if you think about this, if you have a computer, or let's even go back to 10 years ago, the computers we're using 10 years ago, we couldn't speak to them. We could only type and print. But today's computers, we can speak to the computer and the computer would respond to what we have said with answers. I'm going to show that to us, but after a few more slides, so that everyone connects to what we're talking about. So natural language processing allows computers to process language. Now, so remember, we've come from, I'll go back to the beginning. We've come from artificial intelligence, machines understanding how to think, learn, solve problems. Machine learning, feeding data into machines so they can think like humans. Deep learning, building the machine to have a brain of its own so it can remember conversations. This is one of the benefits of deep learning. Now, natural language, understanding our own language when we ask the computer a question. And then today, we have taken all of those fields, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, natural language processing, and we've brought them all together into one application, which we call generative AI, which is AI that allows us to generate new content. So in a less technical term, the word generate allows you to produce something new. So if we have machines that can think, that understand our language, and can act smartly, then the next phase for us is to generate anything we want out of that machine. And we're getting there shortly. I just want to show you that that is possible. And I'll skip this slide. I'm not skipping it completely. I'll come back to it. But I want to speak to the 5 human senses. Now, this illustration on the screen tells us that every human being takes in information from the 5 senses. So we see, we hear, we touch, we use our nostrils to smell, and we use our mouths to either confess or give out information. Now, every time as humans that we receive information, what happens is that information gets into the human brain through a couple of filters. Now, the filters allow us to generalize data, to distort data, or to delete data. So this is a typical example. Mary had a little lamb. The fleece of the lamb was white as snow. So I can safely generalize that every lamb has a fleece that is whiter than snow. That's generalization. But in order for our brains to be able to generalize, distort, delete, or finally interpret what we understand, it needs to take that information that we have passed into the brain and break it into smaller chunks, which is then passed to other parts of the brain to interpret, to store, and to provide back to us as a behavior. Now, why did I take the time to explain this? Because this is the same thing that has been deployed in the world of computers today. The 5 senses inspired artificial intelligence as we know it today. And I'm going to prove it to everyone. Maybe with the eyes and the ears, but maybe without the exception of the skin, because we do not have a robotic equipment here. But for those who have robotic equipment, they can use their robots, plug their robots to a computer screen, and it can provide some level of answers to questions. I'm going to stop sharing, but I'll reshare my screen again just to showcase how we can use computer vision and speaking to a computer to get some answers. Just going to take this down so it doesn't stand in my way. Guess everyone can still see my screen. Okay. So just get this out of the way. I believe everyone can still see my screen. So I'm going to open this again. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to speak to this computer and prove to you that it understands natural language. So I'm going to allow it to use my computer. Hey, chat, I want to say good morning to my friends from the western part of Nigeria, and I want to say good afternoon to my friends from the eastern part of Nigeria, and I want to say good evening to my friends from the northern part of Nigeria. Can you help me generate a statement that I can send to the large language model to give me this answer? So this is what we mean when we say natural language understanding. So every time I click the dictate button on ChatGPT or any of the large language models and I start speaking, it hears me and it understands my language. That is what natural language processing, natural language generation, and natural language understanding has been able to fix. Now, if I take this same message and I send it to the model, it has already been trained in the different languages. So it says to me, it says, based on what I sent to him, it says, write me a greeting that says, good morning to my friends from the west, from the east, from the north. So it's just corroborating what I've asked, the question I've asked. Now, if I throw that question, I've now given it an instruction. Okay, so now I think it's beginning to, okay, so maybe I threw in too many elements. Let me say, write me a greeting that says good morning to, maybe it doesn't understand western part, so I'm going to say, so to the, okay, we'll move this upward. Oh, okay, that's interesting. So now, okay, hold on. I'm using the instant model. Let me see if that's, okay, see. Let me just be very clear in Yoruba, see what happens. Sometimes these models just hallucinate. Okay, let's see. Aha, okay. So probably because I gave it too much context, so it was struggling. So see, I said, write me a text that says this, good morning in this. Now I can do the same thing for any other language because it has been trained with these different languages. If I ask you for a language that doesn't exist, okay, let's say for example, I'm not sure if ChatGPT has been trained with Ibibio. So if I say, send me, write me a greeting that says good morning in Ibibio. Let's see if he finds Ibibio. Oh, okay, okay. So it's been trained with Ibibio and a couple of languages. But the idea I'm just trying to bring out here is once you click on this, you can have a natural language understanding. So the AI models can understand you when you speak. Now, I'm going to try to speak to the model, and the model will also respond to me. And then we'll go through the last one, which is vision. Okay. Hey, chat, can you hear me? How's it going?
I can hear you loud and clear. It's going great on my end. Hope you're doing well too.
Yes, I'm doing well. I just wanted to know if you could help me define the difference between deep learning and natural language processing. I'm speaking to individuals who aren't very tech savvy, but I just want them to understand the difference. Can you help me with that, please?
Absolutely, I'd be happy to help with that. So here's a simple way to break it down for folks who aren't super tech savvy. Deep learning is like a big, powerful tool or technique. It's a type of artificial intelligence that uses structures called neural networks, kind of like layers of artificial brain cells, to learn patterns from a lot of data. You can think of it as the underlying engine that can be applied to all sorts of things, like recognizing images or making predictions. Natural language processing, NLP, is one specific application of AI and often uses deep learning as a tool. Basically, NLP is all about helping computers understand and even generate human language. So whenever a computer is figuring out what you mean in a text or talking back to you, that's NLP at work. In short, deep learning is the broad, powerful technique, and NLP is one of the ways we use that technique to handle language. Hope that helps them get the gist.
I hope so too. Thank you, chat. Can you clarify the difference between generative AI and I don't know, and all of the terminologies, AI, ML, deep learning, natural language processing? How does generative AI tie into all of these existing AI technologies?
Absolutely. I'd be glad to clarify that. Think of it as a bit of a layering or nesting doll situation. At the broadest level, we have AI, artificial intelligence. That's the big umbrella term for any technique that enables machines to mimic human intelligence, whether it's making decisions, recognizing patterns, or something else. Under that umbrella, we have machine learning. ML is a subset of AI focused on teaching machines to learn from data. Instead of being explicitly programmed to do a task, the machine learns patterns and improves over time with more data. Now, deep learning is a subset of machine learning. It uses these multi-layered neural networks we talked about to handle really complex tasks. It's especially good at dealing with large amounts of data and figuring out intricate patterns. Then we have natural language processing, NLP, which is a field within AI that deals specifically with understanding and generating human language. And as we said, it often uses deep learning as a tool to achieve that. Finally, generative AI is a type of AI that focuses on creating new content. It can generate text, images, basically producing something new that wasn't there before. Generative AI often uses deep learning models to do this. For example, when you hear about language models that can write stories or code, or image generators that create artwork, that's generative AI at work. So, in summary, AI is the big umbrella. Machine learning is a subset of that. Deep learning is a powerful technique within ML. NLP is one application area of AI. And generative AI is a specialized type of AI that creates new content, often using deep learning to do it.
Amazing. Thank you very much, chat.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could help break it down.
Sure.
If you have any more questions or need anything else, just let me know.
Okay, cool. Sounds great. Thank you. So in a nutshell, I've just had a conversation with my large language model. Now, this is where it gets interesting. For all that communication that I had, it actually generated a transcript. So speaking from a pragmatic point, this is one of the reasons why AI is going to help change the world we live in today. Someone comes to me and says, oh, I'm very lazy. I'm not able to sit down to write a book. I said, speak to any of these LLMs. Tell it what you want to do. It will help you flesh out your idea and you'll start cranking out chapters for your book. This is where the world is going to today. Now, I'm not done yet with showing you how AI use the 5 senses of the human beings. Now, of the human being, I'm going to go to a popular archive site that I call arxiv.org. I mean, every AI researcher actually goes here. So if I want to read any research paper on any field, I can just come here. I can get those papers for free for now. Now, let's say in my own case, I just want to look for understanding large language models. Now, I'll tell you where I'm going to with this. Okay. So I do a quick search for any paper that helps me understand how large language models work. Okay. I don't want something too complicated. Okay, let me go back. Let me just use regular understanding LLMs. Let's access article. So I've enabled ChatGPT search. So every time I search on my browser, what I actually do is, instead of using my Google search, I leverage ChatGPT search. So it's going to give me this particular paper. This is the paper I'm looking for, Understanding Large Language Model Powered Human-Robot Interaction. So I'm going to open this paper. Just want to show you how AI was built to think like humans. Now, this is the paper. Okay. Sorry, so many things opening up on this laptop. Now, let's say I go to visit a friend of mine who is also an AI researcher. And we are having a conversation and he says, I think you need to read this article. I'm like, what article is that? And then he shows it to me and I say, oh my goodness, I don't have a pen. Neither do I have a paper to take the name of the article or who wrote it. And he says, why do you have to do that? Just take your phone and take a picture of the article. So I'm in front of my laptop. So I'm going to use my sniping tool, which allows me to take a picture of the article. So I take a picture of the article. So I have a picture of the article. And then I go to my large language model. It doesn't have to be this one. Maybe just go to this one. And I say, I want you to help me find this article based on this, based on this picture that I have shared. So this is computer vision. Anytime the computer sees something, it translates that vision by converting it into sets of chunks and then goes into the AI or the model to look for that information. Now, it's going on the internet. It has searched for that document and it has found the link. So if I click on this, it obviously takes me to the same article. This is the same article, but if I just click view PDF, yeah, so that's the same article. So what I just wanted to showcase here is the fact that I'll stop sharing for now. So I'll go back to my PowerPoint slide again. Is to showcase to everyone here and justify the argument, because there's a lot of people who have an argument that AI is well, so many analogies. Some people said they're actually human beings who are working behind the scenes to give you the responses that AI is supposed to give to you. But I've just, in a very few set of sessions, just shown you that the artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, NLP stack, plus the Gen AI stack was basically built to think like we humans. So they use their own eyes or our scanners to see. They hear what we tell them to do, either as verbal instructions or as typed information. They use robotic hands. For organizations who have started using robots, those robotic hands are passed instructions or softwares are deployed to them. And then they go on to process the transactions or the instructions that we've asked. Now, why is this very important? I often say that if everyone understands how large language models work, it makes our work or our lives a lot easier. And it will take us to the next set of things we are going to start talking about. Because now that we know that large language models take information from us, so we are the input entity. Now, the question is, what output do you want at the other end? That's the question that I want everyone to begin to process right now. I know you have questions that are already coming, but just save those questions for the next 4 to 5 minutes because we're going to take a 10 minutes Q&A break, and then we'll continue after that. So remember, I said your AI models can see if you scan and upload a document to it. They can receive input from you, still you supplying information, right? And they can also hear you speak and then respond. Now, if we give our language models the right input, we will get the desired output. But the challenge has always been when we don't send the right input, we cannot expect the desired output. And this is where prompt engineering comes in. I don't like calling it prompt engineering. I prefer to call it context engineering, because if you give the large language model the right context, it will give you the desired response. But before we get into prompt engineering, which is going to be the next session we'll get to after the Q&A break, let us understand how a large language model works. Without complicating it, we have an encoder. So every time you send a question to ChatGPT, to Claude AI, to Google Gemini, or any AI model, all you are basically doing is you are sending information to an encoder. The encoder takes your input, breaks it into smaller chunks. Remember when we talked about the human brain also breaks things into 5 to 9 chunks, right? So large language models also break things into smaller chunks. But in AI terminologies, they don't call them chunks, they call them tokens. So if the AI doesn't understand your tokens, it will not give you the kind of answers you desire. So an understanding of how to break your questions into tokens is what will enable the model to have the attention mechanism that it needs to decode and understand the output that you desire and then give it back to you. Now, I can prove this very quickly. If we ask any large language model, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Claude AI, whether it's Google Gemini, what is the color of the sky? It will give us a response. The color of the sky is blue. So that's how large language models work. You throw in an input, you either ask it a question or you give it a sentence, or you scan a picture and ask it to give you information based on that picture. It breaks that text into tiny units called tokens. I already explained this. It finds the patterns from the data and gives you the output that you desire. So if you say to any LLM, write me a poem, it will give you a poem. But the question is, did you give it enough context to write the poem? And so this is basically what it looks like from a, so the first diagram is a non-technical diagram, right? This second one is somewhere in between high level to a little bit of details, right? So large language models was built with what we call the transformer architecture. And every transformer architecture has an encoder and a decoder structure. So it takes the data, encodes it in a way that computers can understand. The computer must understand the instruction you send to it, otherwise it won't be able to decode it. And then in order for it to decode it, it passes that data through neural networks, which is our deep learning. And then based on how well that deep learning model has been trained, that's when you get an answer. So the most important lesson for us at the end of this first session on AI beginners is we now understand that what we call ChatGPT is not AI. They are large language models. They have been trained with data. They are a machine. They can generate new data based on the deep learning models that data has learned the data that you pass through it from. And in a nutshell, everything that we've spoken about today falls under the umbrella of artificial intelligence, and it was built by man. I'm going to stop here, and I hope that with these few points of mine, I have been able to clarify what artificial intelligence is. Thank you. I'm going to look for questions.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for all of us. You've made it so simple that even the 60-year-old, and I think all of us in the room, can we wave? Can we do a clap? You know, just go to your chat box and then, yes, thank you. Thank you, Abdullahi, Hannah. Oh, you got a lot of clapping there. Augustine, Chikazo. Everybody's saying thank you. And also in the chat box, let's know where you're from. I can see Nasarawa, Zamfara, Jos, you know, Jigawa, Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining in. So now go to questions now. Now on the YouTube channel, we also have someone monitoring that, and we can answer your questions even from YouTube. So send in your questions now, and we will be able to collate and then ask. Someone said, I'm watching from Egypt.
Wow. Amazing.
I mean, everything, the world has become a global village.
Yeah.
Our facilitator is from Canada. We are here in Nigeria, and there's somebody watching from Egypt. And I think that is really very good. You've simplified it. But I mean, and maybe I'm going to have to understand. I used to brag that I am a chat GPT expert and I'm an AI consultant. We have someone from the lorry.
Yeah.
From Warri.
So you are a large language model user expert. So you can call yourself a user expert. A large language model, maybe you could say you're a large language model super user. Well, even as a super user, there's a classification, right? Because when you call yourself a large language model super user, you must be able to do things like create prompt, be a prompt engineer. So I'll give an instance. If I don't want to get ahead of me for the next session. I just want to make sure people ask questions.
I like the way you're taking it systematically. You know, they said if you can teach and a 6-year-old can understand, then you're a great teacher.
Yes, that's the payment method.
In this case, you know, for those of us that's 6 decades thereabout, it's a bit tough. You know, we are coming into this space, and the whole thing is like we're seeing men walking like threes. But I have some questions in already. I'm going to let Tayo coordinate that. I'm a large language user. I won't even call myself an expert too. I have a question. How can...
from James Shadrach.
Yeah, there's a question from James Shadrach.
Okay.
And Tayo will coordinate that. Thank you.
Tayo, please go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, good to be here. James Shadrach says, how can bias sneak into an AI model, even if the programmers have good intention?
Great question. That's actually one of the areas
all right.
That's one of the areas that my research, you know, as an expert in AI, you never stop learning. So we are lifelong learners, right? My area of research actually stems out of AI ethics. And up until recently, I started foraying into research in safety and security of AI agents. That question, let me unbundle the question first before I provide an answer. What he's saying is AI is built by humans, and humans are not perfect. Like, even if you are the most intelligent mathematics genius in the world, there's a probability that 1% of the time you would make some mistakes. That's one side to it. Now, another side to it is most times when we build models, right, we don't focus on building something perfect, you know. And I'll use an analogy that I use when I teach software testing. I used to teach software testing years ago. I used to say to my students that you can't get clean water from a dirty pipe. So the first thing we have to do is make sure the pipes are clean. Now, when I'm talking about pipes now, I'm referring to the process. If the process to building software or AI software or AI engineering is not built, is not done properly, there's most likely the propensity for bias to come in. And I'll prove it to you. If you go to any of the models out there in the world today and you ask some specific questions, let me use finance, for example. Even though that the financial regulators worldwide have not allowed AI to be brought into credit scoring or credit modeling, right? Like if you want to go take a loan from a bank, if we use AI for those models, we're going to disqualify a lot of people because AI would only look at the data that you're giving onto it. So bias basically begins from your data set, which is why I said if the process is faulty, already your coding process is faulty, the data that you are bringing into the process is faulty, the humans that are writing these models and entering this data, putting a faulty process, obviously bias will set in. I remember when I was beta testing some video creation large language models. If you ask those models to create a video showcasing a person of color or a black person or somebody, people from this particular region, it will try very hard in the initial stages. It will try very hard to create a video, but you will see that in those videos, everyone in there is white. But it was during beta testing. So I had to go back and say to the developers, there's no such thing as black people or people of color looking like white person. So you need to go back and tweak the model to let it know that you're missing out on certain things. And that's where the popularity of synthetic data came in. Synthetic data basically allows you to look at data that exists, look for missing components in that data, and use they call them discriminators. Use a discriminator to take that same data and create different data sets. So bias would always exist, but the solution to bias is we then build a system, which is where the discriminator comes in, or what we call GANs, the GNs. But today we see that people are using GANs for illegal things. You see people who come up with videos of presidents who is not the real president, but that wasn't the real intention for those models. Those models were built to fix the problem of missing data by creating synthetic data. But Shadrach, all I'm just trying to say in very less technical terms, as long as human beings are the ones building AI systems, there will be bias. As long as the data that we have is incomplete, not perfect, there will be bias. I don't know if you work with data, you recognize that most times in the real world, we don't have clean data. So data is the primary challenge, and then other things come in. Sorry, Tai, I hope I didn't take too long to answer that.
Oh, well, we'll cut it short. We'll take 2 more questions, then so that we can move to the second session. So we are still on. Everyone, don't be in a hurry. We are not even close to the end yet. We are not even halfway. So I have a question here from Ubede Omale.
Yeah.
His question is, thank you so much. My question is, can AI program be affected by virus, or does it get corrupt? I think you've done that, or can it be hacked? And then the other one is on, because I know what you've answered before has taken care of that to a large extent. The second one is, what's the role of AI in academic research? Does it give a room for self-development or vice versa? Please elaborate more as much as you can. Thanks.
Okay, so let me take the 2 of them. First off, unless you are building that large language model on your local computer, which already has a virus, then you're rest assured you have virus. A virus on your computer automatically affects or impacts your source codes. But if you are asking whether the large language models that was built by the ChatGPT, OpenAIs of this world, the Google Geminis, first off, we don't even know what data centers they run these models from. It's kept as classified information, right? So to a large extent, those models are, let me use the word unbreakable. If it has to be broken, then it must be done from the inside. First off. Now, second layer I want to put on top of that is, can large language models be broken? The answer is yes and no. Yes, if you have the source codes of that large language model and you want to do that. But I'll tell you for free, it is very unethical. So the question you're asking hinges on ethics, because one of the things that the Center for AI Safety speaks about is the fact that we have threat actors who are jailbreaking AI models for theft. What that basically means is they have not been able to jailbreak the foundation models out there, the ChatGPTs of those worlds, the Google Gemini. But what they are doing is they go online, because there are some large language models that are open sourced, like they share their source codes out there. If time permits, it's quite technical, but I can take us into that world. I built a couple of open source large language models. I took the source codes and then I built on top of them. That's when you can jailbreak those, but it's illegal, right? But to prevent that, most large language models or people who are building open source models are now putting guardrails. So those guardrails prevent you from doing that. So to answer your question, yes and no. Yes, if the model is local to your computer. No, if it is in a place where you don't have access to it, you can't breach it. The second one, what's the role of AI in academic research? I would say the role of AI in academic research is AI is a co-pilot. I'm in the academia, right? I shuttle between academia and the workplace. And I'll tell you for free that one of the challenges that I've seen in academia is 90% of the work that is done in academia does not help the workplace. So let's start from there. Let's identify that there's a gap in academia. What am I trying to say? This is 2025. What courses are our academia providing today that can help us fix the relevance of the workplace? And I'm speaking directly now to our home country, Nigeria. And I'm saying this from a pragmatic point of view. If the department for courses like history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, those fields, right, have contributed to human development over 200 years ago. But today, if they continue to teach those courses the way it was taught 200 years ago, we're not going to make it progress. We're not going to make progress in our modern society. So academia has to really, really sit up. And it's because academia didn't sit up. That's why AI agencies like Meta are building super intelligence labs today. I mean, I love to see our universities around the world building super intelligence labs and getting students and young persons like you going in there and saying, I have an idea of how we can use AI in local government, how we can use AI in federal government, and how we can use AI to fix certain problems. I'll give an instance. There's a young man who developed an AI model. It's a patent, so I really can't speak much about it. But what his idea stemmed out of was, why do traffic lights have to turn red when there are even no cars on the road? How about we build a traffic lighting system that is intelligent to know that between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. there will be rush hour from point A to point B. So make point A to point B traffic to free flowing, and then for areas where there's no traffic, it can create alternative routes. Now, this is where the human intelligence element still comes in, and it comes from academia. The brightest ideas comes from the universities. That's why they're called ivory towers. It doesn't come from the workplace, because in the workplace, people are just thinking about how to get work done, how to solve problems. But it is the university with funding. I agree that most of our universities in Africa are underfunded, right? But you see, if you begin to bring out ideas in academia, trust me, the funding will come. So, Abdul, to answer your question again in context, academia has no excuse not to jump into this bandwagon of AI. From 2 decades ago, I've been writing an article, a series of articles. I said, Nigeria and Africa, we missed the printing revolution. We missed the agricultural revolution. We missed the industrialization revolution. We missed the internet revolution, pardon my French, not industrial. We missed the internet revolution. Please, we must not miss this AI revolution. And it's not difficult. All you need is just one open source large language model, an idea of what you want to do. Even when you don't have a market, just keep building. You'll be surprised. You will change you will not only change academia, you will change the world around you. Someone asked a question. It says, let's use DeepSeek and the case study it has faced.
That's Shadrach again. Talking about DeepSeek.
Okay.
Said
I see that. So I wouldn't go into those conversations, because it's more of a we're just talking about which large language model. It's not about large language models, right? It's about which of these solutions can pragmatically give you the answer that you seek. And what DeepSeek has just basically proven is that it uses a mixture of experts. So instead of having one expert give you an answer, you can have a mixture of many experts. It doesn't solve the problem. You still have to ask the questions, then the model will try to think. And most times, if it doesn't have adequate data, the thinking doesn't come out appropriately. So let's not bore ourselves with those conversations, right? Can we use AI to protect our data from hackers' attack? This question, we need more context, but I will say yes. Organizations like Amazon, like Microsoft, like Google, they probably built what I call AI sentinels. Their AI sentinels detect intrusive attack from hackers and then plug that in. I've done some research in that space, so I can speak to that, but it's going to take, it took me about 4 to 6 hours to explain that model to some professors. So if we get in here, we won't stop till tomorrow. Okay, let me see what Victor is saying. He says, PhD student working on developing foundational language model for precision exercise recommendation in cancer patients to improve their quality of life. What do you think is the best way to start off? Is there any possibility of collaborating with you? Oh, I don't do collaborations. I'm sorry. But first off, I will let you know so cancer is multifaceted. Now, what do I mean by that? I used to work with a company called IBM, and I was in the lab services, right? They have an AI solution called Watson. Watson has studied over 400 cancers and is still studying. So, Victor, when you say you are going into study for cancer patients, is it lung cancer? Is it colon cancer? Is it cancer of the breast? Is it cancer of the brain? Is it, so there's a lot of cancers, which is why I said this is what has always been my issue with academia. There's so many things that we bring up, but you see, one strand of that area, like if you say, okay, I want to focus on colon cancer, which is a disease that impacts Black people, by the way, you would realize that, first off, you probably won't see a lot of, I'm not sure if you see a lot of research papers that has passed colon cancer data through AI, because we're talking PII here. These are people's medical records, right? And no one will want to share their medical record that they have cancer already. They're already facing a big issue. Then you now want to take them through the process of sharing their data for you to be able to develop. Nah, I mean, if you want, we can have more conversation. But I'll tell you right now, your your thesis would take 10 years, and you won't even have an answer, or you won't even be able to argue to a logical conclusion. So streamline your thesis. You can use a foundational language model. You can take all the cancer research that exists, put it into an open source model, and begin to go from there. And if you're a medical student, or you can find a university that is willing to share some data, maybe without giving you explicitly the patient's personal information, you might be able to go far with that research. That's what my recommendation would be.
Okay, Mike, because of time and because, this is a broad class, there are beginners here. I'm seeing a lot of questions from senior class here, but I think the next one will address that. There's a question here by Dr. Bueller that says fear has been expressed that LLM may soon be exhausted because users are not making inputs of new data, but just consuming the data. How true is that fear? And what's your suggestion to users?
It's a very valid fear, right? You would see it from the fact that everyone's becoming apprehensive that whatever data they threw into. In fact, matter of fact, I was reading an article this morning, and the writer was saying he noticed that traffic to his website has dropped ever since ChatGPT rolled out. So he went on ChatGPT and asked a few questions. Excuse me. And ChatGPT responded, showing that it was actually using his website to train itself. And so the guy said he has made a decision. He's going to start blocking AI bots from reading from his website. So that's typically one of the things that will start happening. Everyone will become creative about preventing their data from going to large language models. But I don't see it as a problem. I see it as an opportunity also. It's an opportunity for AI to also get intelligent and begin to generate its own synthetic data. As we speak today, that has fixed that problem. So if I want to generate 4 trillion bytes of data today that is all synthetic, I already have the foundation data. So that's why OpenAI and most of those large language models companies are no longer scared. If you want to take them to court, it's fine. Take them to court. But they're going to come back to you with a question. The data that you had over the years, what were you using it for? It's just like I do. It's like a writer who wrote a book and no one has read it for the past 20 years. And then someone comes, revises your book, and then you get royalties for 1 million book sales. Would you rather sue that person, or would you rather find ways to work and collaborate with that person to ensure you keep getting royalties? So it's a classic question of a half full cup, half full glass. So the glass is neither empty nor full, but you have to make do of what you want to do with it. That's my summation. Okay, so
I think we should go on. There are questions here. I saw your
we'll
question.
come back to the questions.
Yes, Babatunde Sadia. We'll come back to the question. Let's go on to the second session now. Thank you all for sharing, for being part of it. It's quite interesting.
Okay, so I already spoken to how large language models work. So we're going to move to prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is going to set the pace for everything we're going to do going forward. I'll just go back one slide just to prove. Okay, another slide. Remember, LLMs work with taking your inputs and giving us the desired output, right? Now, let's practice, before we get into prompt engineering, let us practice what I call output thinking. I need answers. What kind of answers do I need from a large language model? The moment I know my output, it becomes easy for me to frame my input. So prompt engineering, or if you prefer context engineering, which I would use preferably, is the practice of ensuring that your instruction guides the AI model to produce your desired output. So what is your desired output? Matter of fact, I always say to anyone who wants to get better at prompting, to begin by writing out your output. Write out your output, then take your output, craft your instructions. Now, how do you craft your instructions or your input to ensure that you get the desired output? You must ensure that you set a persona. Are you asking this question as a journalist, or are you asking as a parent? Now, what is the objective of the question? Clearly stated. What are the constraints that you want to put in? What format do you want the data? Do you want it in a tabular structure? And do you have a few examples? I'm just going to walk us through a few slides, and then we'll go right into prompt engineering, just to prove to everyone that prompt engineering is what everyone really needs to get better at this. So the difference between a basic prompt and an expertly engineered prompt is context. It is context. And that's why I said I prefer to call it context engineering, because that's what differentiates the inaccurate generic responses with very precise tailored answers. So when you want to prompt with any AI tool, remember, I gave some examples here. You must have a persona, you must have an objective, you must have a format, you must have some examples. So this is how it should go. Your prompt must have the following elements. What do you want AI to adopt? What specific outcome do you desire? What are your limitations? So instead of writing a prompt that says, write me an email about the project update, you want to give it context. Act as a project manager, writing to what kind of stakeholders? Create a brief project update email highlighting timeline changes and resource needs. Keep it under 200 words constraint. That means it must not exceed 200 words. Use a professional but friendly tone, similar to our previous communications. Now, I'm going to quit my sharing, and I would reshare my AI screen again. And we would test with those two examples I just shared. Okay. I believe everyone can see my screen now. Just going to maximize this a little. Open ChatGPT. So the first prompt says, write me an email about the project update. Everyone will agree with me that that's a weak prompt, right? Because it doesn't give us any context. So I throw that into ChatGPT. Let me use the instant so it gives me responses faster. Okay, took the picture, that's probably why. Okay, so yeah. So you see, it doesn't give me, it gives me a project update letter, but it doesn't even know what the project name is. So you see, no context. Dear recipient name, it doesn't even know who the letter is going to. So see, we've completed, doesn't even know what milestone or what phase we are in. So that's what happens when you don't give the AI adequate context, right? And then, of course, at the end of the, doesn't even tell us who the project manager is. So that's what happens when you use a weak prompt. On the alternative, if we now go on and pick a very detailed prompt, that says act as a project manager, writing to, I can give it more context. I would say, act as a project manager, writing to stakeholders on an AI, let me make it more, I'd say ChatGPT 5 upgrade project. See, I've given it context. We're doing a ChatGPT 5 upgrade project. Create a brief project update email, highlighting timeline changes and resource needs. Let me be specific, for September to December 2025. Keep it on, let me say 300 words. I want to see, then use a professional tone, right? You'll see there's a lot different. See, now we have a project update with a detailed name, ChatGPT 5 upgrade, September to December 2025. Dear stakeholders, I didn't specify stakeholders, so you just picked stakeholders. But you see that there's a difference between the previous one and this one. So it specifies the resource needs. It also shares next steps. So this is what prompt engineering helps us to fix. Now, I'm sure someone is asking a question, how do you even know what prompts to use or how best to use prompts? I would say it depends, right? And that would bring us back to, I'm going to go back to my slides and continue again. Okay, so back here. Okay, so it's basically about writing the right, using effective instructions. Now, I'm also going to showcase to you how you can teach your large language model, doesn't matter whether it's ChatGPT or Claude AI, how to also write effective prompts for you, okay? But you have to use persona. If you have been writing prompts and you're not using personas, you're probably not getting the right answers or the right output you seek. Structure your output. How do you want your output? Do you want it to be in a tabular format? Do you want to use delimiters? So instead of saying, tell me about marketing strategies, which is too vague, doesn't specify the audience, you can say, act as a chief marketing officer for a D2C skincare brand, right? Outline 3 digital marketing strategies, and for each strategy, include target audience, platform, cost, range, and expected outcomes. That way, you then build better prompts, right? Now, same thing applies when you are trying to validate your prompts. You have to give the large language model the concept behind the reasoning. You know, like if you look at this example, it says, solve this problem step by step. A store sells shirts for $25 each. They are offering buy two, get one free. How much would 7 shirts cost? Show your reasoning before giving the final answer. Now, this is a context that I normally use when I get when my kids want to try to understand the concept. Like my son's trying to learn trigonometry and geometry, and it requires a lot of theorems and proofs, right? So whenever I sit with him and I'm trying to prove to him, while the area of a triangle is half length, half base times height, he says to me, why does a triangle have a base? Why does it need a height? There are fundamental first principles thinking, but when those kind of questions starts to come, it begins to prove to you that, okay, we're thinking out of the box. And in order to think out of the box, we need to ask the right set of questions. And that's one of the things that context or prompt engineering really speaks to. So I would just do something very quickly. I would throw that same math question here. Say, solve this problem. So it's going to solve the problem and show how the problem is solved. Yeah. So it starts by showing the price per share to the deal. Then it goes into, so this is called, it's like you break the prompt down into different sets. Some people will say you call this breaking the prompt. So you see that it uses steps, because I said, show your reasoning before giving the final answer and solve this problem step by step. So let me give another instance. Now, let's say I'm a developer and I want to write a Python code that will analyze the top 5 performing or top 10 performing stocks on the New York Stock Exchange and give me, so I would say, let me borrow this, solve this problem step by step, right? And I would say, generate a Python code that helps me to analyze the top 10 stocks in the NYSE. Solve this problem step by step. Ensure that you explain what the code is doing in every step and provide relevant visualizations. Sorry, that's obviously not me, yeah? Okay, so it starts by explaining step 1, install the libraries. So that's the code to install the libraries. Then next thing, list the top 10 stocks in the New York Stock Exchange. Download the historical data. So it downloads 1 year worth of data. Calculate the daily returns. It calculate the returns. Summarize the performance. Visualize the reports, the results. So this actually helps me to plot a bar chart. And then this helps me plot a scatter plot. And the final output shows me the summary of the top 10 stocks. Maybe during Q&A, we would go through what this code looks like. But for those who think that programming was a mystery, large language models can now help you to be able to write programs that can solve a lot of business problems very quickly. So like I said, it all begins with an idea. What is your idea? Now let's speak to tools. There are a lot of AI tools out there, but our focus for today's session would be on this top 5 or top 6 that I have listed here. So we've got the chat assistants, which are AI that we use for writing, brainstorming, and problem solving. We've got the coding copilots, that's AI codes that help us to write and code. Sorry, Taya, can you please mute everyone? Just, if you need to just mute everyone. When I'm muted, I will unmute myself so that this doesn't get into the recording, because thank you. I noticed that someone is annotating on the screen. Maybe we need to take away the annotation permission. Okay, so coding copilots help us to write code, meeting and note tools, AI that helps with transcription. There's a particular AI tool, apart from Copilot, there's Otter.ai. It listens into your meetings and summarizes all that you're saying. I think Zoom also does that, generates a transcript of the meeting. Then we've got data helpers, which is AI that is used for spreadsheet analysis and visualization, as well as AI tools that can help with automation. We probably won't be able to go through all of them, but I will pick a use case for chat assistants, coding pilots, meeting and note tools, and maybe design and visuals. So we'll look at some AI that can use for creating slides and diagrams as we go on. So we're getting to the next phase now. The next phase is where we talk about AI tools. And then the last part will be, the last 1 hour would be when we talk about how we can use AI tools to improve our resumes, our LinkedIn profiles, the things that we do every day. So I already gave you a list. AI assistants are ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. They are good for drafting documents, brainstorming, and summarizing documents. Transcription tools, I already mentioned Otter AI, Google Copilot, Google Meet, as well as Zoom transcription, as well as email tools. I'm sure everyone knows now, when you open your email, you see that if you use Gmail, Google wants to help you summarize your emails, same as Copilot. And then, of course, Gamma is used for slide presentation. So we're going to go through some of these tools, maybe not all of them. In order to discuss them, we would need to understand the various areas. So I already started by showing you how developers will generate code using AI. So AI can help us generate code, but then we have to then run that code, test the code, be sure that the code works, and then we can use the same AI to generate an explanation of the code, create documentation, and do code reviews. In product management, I don't know if there's anyone who is a product manager here who manages products, or you work as an operations manager in any organization. You can use AI to do your market research. You can use AI to do your product documentation. You can use AI to manage communications with stakeholders. It's already happening today. If you're someone that creates process mapping, document resource requirements, as well as gap analysis, we can use AI to do those things. There are tools that do that today. I'm going to move very quickly because we're almost on the 2nd hour mark. So I already spoke to developers, spoken to product managers, spoken to business analysts. I will just take us straight to the tool. So we'll begin to use the tools and see how that works. I probably will spend some time on entrepreneurship because I know most people here maybe probably are thinking of starting a business or have started a business. So you can create a prompt that helps you to create a business plan, create an outline, discuss your target market, and create social media posts that you can use to kick off immediately. Okay, so let me go back here and let me stop sharing. We're going to go now to, we're going to go back to the AI. Sure, everyone can still see my screen. Okay, so we're going to go to, we'll come back to our Python code when we're on break so that everyone will see how that actually works, or if the code works correctly, or if the AI didn't do well at it. Now, I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Remember, I said one of the key challenges is that your output is a function of your input. So let's say that I'm not very good at writing prompts. So I want ChatGPT or any AI of my choice, right? So that no one thinks that I have a bias for ChatGPT. I would start on my Gemini also, because I also have Gemini. Okay. So Gemini is up now, but I'll come back to it. Now, and I'm not very good with prompts, so I'd say to ChatGPT, can you help me create a prompt that would help me write a one-page business plan that would enable me start a YouTube channel that can grow from 5 to 500 subscribers in 6 months. My YouTube channel would speak on how to prompt effectively. So I'm not asking to do anything. I said you should create a prompt for me. You should create a prompt that will help me write a one-page business plan that will enable me to start a YouTube channel that can grow from 5 to 500 subscribers, right? Now, that's the question. Can you? Now, I've now informed you that my YouTube channel would speak, let me use or teach on how to prompt effectively. Create a prompt. Excellent. So, see, it says act as a business strategist and YouTube growth consultant. Write me a one-page business plan for a new YouTube channel focused on teaching people how to prompt effectively, AI prompting, ChatGPT prompts, productivity with prompts. The plan must be concise, professional, and practical, covering the following sections. Now, it says keep the plan under one page, written in simple and engaging business language, aiming at making 500 subscribers in 6 months. Now, it's not cast in stone. I can still go back and change that prompt, right? But instead of one page, let me make it 2 or 3 pages. Okay, so I would say 3 pages because I want to see more, right? Yeah, so it gives me a vision. It even gives me a channel name, Prompt Mastery Hub. Because you have to first of all check if that name is available on YouTube, right? Yeah, then it goes vision, mission, who is the target audience, right? What is the unique value proposition, right? What's the content strategy? What's the posting frequency? What is the growth strategy? What is the monetization long-term potential? Now, if I had to do this manually, I probably would have just gone to YouTube, created a page, then anytime my mind tells me to create a video, I create a video. But you see, what this tool helps you to do is it helps you to build a system of sorts, right? And once I've asked this question, I can keep asking questions because this information is saved in memory. So I can come back here and say, okay, give me a 30 days content plan based on the business plan that you have created. So as we are watching this, I'm sure everyone here is thinking, okay, what do I do every day? Can I take that thing that I do every day, put it into this beautiful tool and generate content and then go on to shoot my channel? Okay. Now, so that, like I said, it doesn't look like everything I'm doing is on ChatGPT. I'm going to go and take the initial prompt question here, and we'll go do the same on Gemini. So I've got Gemini here. So I'm going to ask Gemini the same question. Same question, not changing anything. It will first of all create a prompt. Now, it's important that I put some context here. I'm using paid versions of these tools, so it's very imperative. If you use the free versions, I cannot guarantee that you will get very succinct answers like this, but I might be wrong, but that's what I think. So see, so it's giving me a detailed plan, and then I can go back and take this. This is the prompt that it's created, right? So I take that prompt. Now, the reason why it's important that we do this on Gemini is because Google are actually the owners of YouTube. So if I really want to get data that is as close to what I'm being told, I probably want to test it with the actual owners of YouTube. I'm just gonna close this one. Still there somewhere. Yeah. And so it will go on to, yeah. So it gives me my mission statement, gives me my goal, gives me target audience, gives me unique value proposition, gives me content strategy, tells me the kind of video format, my posting schedule. So it recommends that I have one main video every week and then 2 to 3 YouTube shorts per week. And then it says target keywords for each video, how to write better ChatGPT prompts. So the point I'm just trying to bring out here is that if you ask the right questions, you will get the right outcomes. But it begins with understanding the context, which is why I said I would rather call prompt engineering context engineering. I would rather call it context engineering. So I just want to see, we still have 8 minutes. Let me see how much slides I have to go. Okay, so, okay, one last tool before we move. So we've done the process of creating prompts or generating prompts out of the large language models. And we've used 2 large language models, Google Gemini, and we've also used ChatGPT. I'm going to use 2 more tools before we go. The first one will be Otter.ai. Then the second one will be Gamma. I probably will start with Gamma. So let's start with Gamma. So remember, this is my Google prompt here. Okay. So I have another question I need to go and ask my Google Gemini. Remember, after we asked for the vision of the prompt, we then asked ChatGPT to give us a 30-day content, right? Now, I'm going to copy this. Give me a 30 days content plan based on the business plan that you've created. So ChatGPT has given us a 4 weeks plan, right? So it broke it in 2 weeks. Let me see what Gamma does. I'll close this, show this here. Now to give me a 30-day content plan starting from today based on the business plan that you have created. Okay. So it's going to give me a 30-day plan. Not sure if it's this is interesting. Gamma, okay. So it breaks it. Oh, it still gives me a week. Okay, so yeah, this is giving me day 1, Monday, today. Focus, introduce the channel and absolute basics of prompting. So this is for today. Now, let's imagine, I don't want everything. Let's just take this. Let's imagine that, sorry. So I take this. I only want day 1, but I'll take out the week 1. It says, introduce the channel and the absolute basics of prompting. September 1, what is prompting in 60 seconds? Now, let's imagine that I am an ultimate context engineer and I don't want to even sit down to create the video. So I come to Gemini and I say, create a prompt. So I'm just showing you how to master prompt engineering. That helps me to create a 60 seconds YouTube short that is based on, then I specify my focus, introduce the channel and the absolute basics of prompting, right? I'll show you where I'm going to with this. Okay. Sorry, just I'm a stickler for grammar. Create a prompt that helps me create a 60-second YouTube short that is based on week 1, the foundation. Okay, no, I don't need the dates, but I can leave week 1. My focus is this. The YouTube short is titled "What is prompting in 60 seconds." So I'm going to take this, take it up there. Let me create the YouTube based on the what is prompting in 60 seconds. Okay. Sorry, I don't know if my machine is okay. So it gives a description. We hope to introduce the channel's topic. Explain simply that prompting is a skill of. Okay, so I don't need this one here. Okay, so I'm going to go back up just to be sure that I gave it the right context. Create a prompt that helps me to create a YouTube 60 seconds YouTube shorts video on InVideo.ai. InVideo.ai it's an AI platform that allows you to create videos, right? That is based on, so it's going to create the script, the prompt that I will use on InVideo AI. So it's thinking, okay, let me copy this same thing. Okay. So it's created the script, but it's not done yet. Sorry, this is the part where the rubber meets the road. So this part is usually boring, but this is really the part where the work of context or prompt engineering comes in. So I'm going to copy this, okay? And I will also put this here on ChatGPT. Okay, so ChatGPT is also going to generate its own prompt. Okay, so while it's doing that, I'm going to launch my video tool. It's called InVideo.ai. So it allows you to create videos without limits. I have a free login. So this one, I used to pay for the subscription, but not anymore. So yeah, we would use a free version, but the free version has a limit. So we see that, let me see. Okay, let me use the advanced model and see. Okay, so I would go back to Google. Just give me a few more minutes. Let me show you case this before we get to Q&A, because I'm sure there's a lot of questions. So I'll take this is the Google prompt. So we're doing a 60 seconds video. This is my video. I will throw all that prompt in here. You see why context engineering or prompt engineering, if you prefer to call it, is very important. If what I provide here is not good enough, then my video will not be good enough. So it's going to create a video. So while this is going on, yeah, it's going to take some time to create the video. I'll go to Gamma. Okay. Gamma helps you create beautiful PowerPoint presentations and as well as document. Sorry, okay, everyone can still see my screen. I'm most certain of that because I can see that my screen is green. Okay, cool. So I go to Gamma and I would say, so I have that, oh no, I don't want those full prompts. Sorry, take this out. Where's my previous, sorry, let's go to ChatGPT. Yeah, so I'm going to take this, create a prompt that helps me but I'll ask you to do a PowerPoint presentation. I'll just make some changes. So let's see. Okay, so we're done with this. I would go to Gemini and say, same prompt, but I would say, create a prompt that helps me to create a maybe 10 slide deck or decks on Gamma. So see that I'm still using constraints, yeah? I said 10 slide deck. That is based on what is prompting in 60 seconds. Create a prompt that helps me to think like an AI educator and master storyteller. Sorry. And create 10 slide decks on Gamma that are based on what is prompting in 60 seconds. Now, I don't need this, but I can leave my focus. My focus, I don't need introduce the channel. Don't think I need all that. Let's see, let me leave that. Okay, let me leave my focus. Let's see what else we have. We don't need YouTube short. Title, idea, what is prompting in 60 seconds. I can leave that there. Description. Let me say, a series of slides that explain simply that prompting is the skill of talking to AI to get what you want. So it's going to give me a prompt that I would take and put into Gamma, and I will get a presentation maybe in 15, 20 minutes. Okay. So generating the prompts. Tayo, just give me 2 more minutes, and then we can go to Q&A. 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. We are here.
Okay, so we've gotten our cards from card 1 to 10. So we know we're going to do a 10 slide presentation. So I've copied the scripts. I'm going to go to Gamma. Now, I would use a presentation, obviously. And then I would describe what I want to make. So see, I have specified generate a 10 slide presentation. My role, I'm an AI educator and a master storyteller. My goal, create a presentation, target audience, professionals, students and creators, tone and style, card title from card 1 or slide 1 to slide 10. Now, so we got all that. I don't need to edit the prompt, but I don't know why. Right. Okay, so now I'm here. Gamma allows me to generate new words or preserve the existing words. I can preserve the existing words that the prompt has generated. So for every words, it will just create them, but I would rather use generate. So let it generate new words. Because I'm using it for a YouTube channel, I'd rather make it concise or minimal, because you don't want to have too many texts when you're speaking to your audience, right? So let's say minimal, okay? And then I use free form. So I know I only want 10 slides because I've told it 10 cards and I'm giving it how it should go. Maybe I'll use Pale as my background. And then I would use AI images, and I would just tell it to proceed with generating. So once I issue the word generate, it begins to generate the slides. Yeah. So it starts creating the slides, the act of talking to AI, how prompting. Yeah. So that's going on. In video is also going on. In video is done now. So it says, who are the audience? I say AI beginners and students. Duration is 1 minute because I already instructed it, and it's a YouTube short. So I can do Instagram Reels or I can do TikTok, but for now, we're doing YouTube Shorts. So I say generate. So it's going to generate the video. And I ask it to notify me when it's ready. Okay, I'll just put it for now. I'll turn it off later. Because I hope it doesn't notify me when I'm at work. Okay, so Gamma should be, oh, still ongoing. Okay, almost there. Yes, so we have 10 slides from Gamma, which I can present to you right away. So if I was running a YouTube channel, I could come with my PowerPoint slides and speak to the slides. And in 60 seconds, I should hopefully be done. That's the goal. So for those who say that AI is going to take over jobs, I hope that I've been able to showcase to you that it will take away jobs, agreed. You will no longer need a secretary to prepare your PowerPoint slides, but you would be able to now generate prompts while you're fetching a cup of coffee and still be able to go in and have your presentation and still add value to the organization or the team. And I hope with these few points of mine, we've been able to end the second hour on a very strong note. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you again. Wow. If you've made it this second session, even now I have learned. I didn't know this much before. I'm going to be a lot better. We have a lot of questions coming in here. Abdul Jalil Aderemi.
Okay.
We have quite a lot of questions. Sadia Bello Olugbami Babatunde. Okay. Someone say, as a lecturer, please, how do you think our universities can utilize AI? And to what extent, I mean, classes, how do we allow the classes, and access as students? Another person says, I would like to ask a question about, according to my research, AI response is basic knowledge of human research and feedback. AI is not capable on processing the data analysis regarding new information in line. I'm not very, maybe we can let's Dr. Mike access these questions, then you may be able to.
Yeah, anyway, it's fine.
Can you see the questions?
Where is it? The Q&A? Or Tayo, do you want mind dropping it on WhatsApp?
Tayo,
I'll just see it on WhatsApp. Or you want to read it, anyone's fine.
okay, Tayo will read the questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I can drop them. I'll drop them for you on WhatsApp. I'll just read them
Okay,
for
great.
our audience because I got one or two from YouTube as well.
Okay.
So
Great.
yeah. So, but I'll drop it for you on WhatsApp so you can see them while I read them.
So I'll reshare my screen again for those who want to see, and maybe while go ahead with the question, I will just go to in video because I think the video is still generating. It's 5%, so it's not done yet. So I'd love for everyone to see that. So we're still good. Let me stop sharing for now so that we can take questions.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yes. So I'll read the questions. Sadia Bello asked most an hour ago that as a lecturer, how do you think our universities can utilize AI? I know you were talking about that, and to what extent, can classes be allowed and assess students using AI? And somebody, and she later added also that are there some specific prompts to be used in academia? What prompts are allowed in academics? And another academic question by Abdul Jalil says, how can AI help a researcher in academic field, especially in research publications?
Let's pause.
So
Let's
avoid
start
plagiarism.
let's start with the first few. Someone said, how can universities jump into this
Yes.
AI revolution? My video
Hello,
is
Mike.
paused, so I want to be sure. I feel almost set. Can you hear me now?
Okay, you're
Can you
back.
hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah, I noticed that there was a pause for a few seconds. So,
Yes,
okay,
but
so
you're
let's
back.
start with how our universities can take advantage. Now, for a few minutes, I'm going to walk away from the universities. I'll speak to us as individuals. Universities don't make us. We chart a course. So if you are here and you are a student, you are here, you are a lecturer or you're a member of a faculty, it is what you do that will determine whether AI usage will progress in the university or will retrogress. What am I trying to say? You don't have to wait until the university comes and approves ChatGPT or Google Gemini. You can look at your faculty, look at the current problems and challenges that your faculty is facing, even the students, and then begin to ask yourself, even with limited resources, how may we use these tools that are available to improve the lives of other students, of lecturers, of even the workplace? In my current PhD in generative AI, one of my colleagues is a professor in a university, and she's to us, she spends 16 to 20 hours every week preparing her presentations, creating questions for quizzes. Today, with beautiful.ai, that's another tool like Gamma, right? With beautiful.ai, she has reduced that 16-hour presentation plan for creating her presentations and quizzes. She has brought it down to 2 hours in a week. So she teaches classes from Mondays through Saturdays, and she only needs 2 hours in 144 hours to prepare her slides and her quizzes. That's productivity. If you are a student and you are undertaking a course and it's very difficult for you to understand that subject or that topic, how about taking that textbook or going online, asking the LLM to explain that topic to you well enough so that you understand where your professor already is? So it's about being pragmatic. It's about taking a problem and solving it. I'll give a real life instance. I can be very lazy when I want to be, right? And I'll give an instance. If I don't systemize my life, I would be out of place in a lot of counts. And so one of the things I've done is that I've taken one of the things that I've never missed in the last 4 to 5 years. I've not missed waking up every day to study my holy book. How did I systemize it? All I did was I took a Bible, uploaded it into a large language model, and I crafted the model to every day give me a set of readings that would allow me to read the Bible over a 1-year period. So every morning between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I'm an early riser, so I usually typically wake up at 6 a.m., maybe do a run, ride the bicycle, or do some form of exercise. But between 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., I quickly log in, read my message for the day, and that helps me prepare. And well, ChatGPT came in 2022, so I was doing it manually before, right? Every day, I had a what do they call those things? Like a habit ticker, something you tick off. Oh, I've read Matthew 1, so I tick. I read Matthew 2, so I tick. But now with ChatGPT, all I need to do is once I come in, it has generated the messages for the day. and has put it in a format that I can read it. And once I'm done, I have it has a tracker. It helps me track it and says, today's reading is done. You have read today. So all I'm basically saying is this: don't just see this tool as a tool for you to start generating videos and going on YouTube or social media and showing everybody that you've learned AI. No, use this tool to actually solve practical problems. And I'll tell you, even the university, your workplace, everyone will notice that something has really changed about you. So I think that's the first, just to answer that first question, Tayo, so that we don't take so many questions at the same time. So as a lecturer, yes, you can create lesson notes and save yourself the time. If the university does not have a projector, then that might not work for you. But I mean, imagine that you have your set of presentations in slide format. You can just go into class and look through your slides, and they'll be like your notes to help you remember. Babatunde says, I would like to ask a question according to my research. AI response is basic knowledge of human response and human research and feedback. No, I don't agree with you, Babatunde. It's not basic. No, let's change that narrative. It is not basic. If you are getting basic knowledge of human research, it's because you're not prompting properly. It says AI is not capable of processing data analysis. No, not true. I'll prove that to you. Just give me a few minutes. I'll prove that to you. Remember, I generated some sets of code where I used Python to analyze the stock market, the New York Stock Exchange. I'll prove that to you, that AI can do data analysis. And I'm not even doing data analysis. I'm just going to show you how AI generated code. I actually built a model using LangChain that connects to any database. Doesn't matter if it's Oracle, if it's Microsoft SQL Server. You would ask English questions like, how many employees have we hired today? It will write the SQL queries and it will give you the answers. So, Babatunde, AI is already doing data analysis. But if I have to power on that software and set up my OpenAI tokens, it might take us a couple of hours. So we can't do that today. Maybe in another session, I know that Taya and I have planned to have another session. I can showcase that to you. Absalom says, this is a very powerful name, Abner and Absalom. Please, sir, still on the issue of AI in academic performance, how can a student manage the issue of some lecturers not accepting AI-generated information when it comes to project work and assignment? I wear both hats. I wear the hat as a work professional, and I wear the hat of a teacher sometimes. Abner, let me explain to you in a way that you will relate. How would you feel if you spent 5 years out of your life investigating something, discovering new areas, and then 2 weeks later, after you have done that and you have been issued a doctoral degree, somebody else comes and copies everything you did in 5 years and just changes your name and puts his own name? Maybe the person changes his name to Michael Absalom. How would you feel? You would obviously want to sue that person. So that is the issue with AI in academia. So we're not saying don't use AI. We're saying use it responsibly. I do research. I research for organizations. I do academic research. I can use AI to outline my research, what I want to do. I can use AI for brainstorming. I can ask AI, go and get me everyone who has ever written a paper regarding this topic. What are their flaws? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? When I get all that, I will now rewrite an improved version of their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, and their threats. And I have a different document. You can use AI to do that. That's the best way to use AI. Someone says, are there some specific prompts to use in academia? My dear, stop thinking specific. Create your own prompts. Every time you sit in front of a tool, please always create your own prompt. Great question. What LLM can help me develop training manual? There's really no perfect LLM, but I think that to answer your question, we would have to leverage retrieval augmented generation. Probably would maybe showcase that in the next session. RAG is basically a terminology that says if you have all those training manuals that you want to develop, or you have an idea of what a training manual should look like, let's create, and you can do this on ChatGPT, you can do this on Google Gemini and Cloud. We'll create a workspace. You upload all of those manuals into the large language model. Then we will now create context that would say, okay, this manual was written in 2000. The world has changed in 2025. Can you contextualize this manual so that it can be accurate for 2025? So yes, there's no perfect large language model. And it also creates an opportunity if you want to build large language models that are used for training leaders. But my strong recommendation would be, if you want to do that, you probably then need to maybe take an open source large language model. It's safer because your data is then not used by the foundation models and sold to people who can afford to pay to get those ideas. Because most foundation models that are in the market, they take your data and they also train your data and allow others to reuse it. So if you don't want that, then you have to take an open source model. I probably would spend a few minutes in the third hour speaking to how to leverage open source large language models. Okay. Now. Okay, Fumi Vicky. Some persons have said giving AI tools personal information is not advisable. Please, sir, what's your opinion on this? And if it's true, what personal information should not put on AI tools? Don't put your credit card number or your debit card info. I mean, don't take a picture of your credit card or debit card and upload to ChatGPT. Don't upload your medical records with your name and address on it. If you must put your medical record, then expunge or remove any information that traces back to you. So anytime you want to upload a document, if it has your name, your email address, your telephone number, ways that people can find you, you're basically exposing yourself. But other than that, that's personal information, really. So if you say you want to upload maybe you have maybe a doctor's giving you a diagnosis, you don't even understand what the doctor is saying, take a picture of it, but ensure that your name, your phone number, anything that traces back to you isn't displayed, and then throw it into the large language model. But it will also tell you, the AI will also tell you, it's not a doctor. So it will only give you recommendations. You still have to go back to your doctor, right? How can AI help a researcher in academic field? I already given answers to this. No. So AI cannot detect plagiarism. Jalil, if you are asking that question, then I want to put you under the radar immediately. Because invariably you're trying to tell me that you want to go copy people's projects and just put it together as your job. So AI wouldn't do that. AI would only allow you to it will only generate content based on the context you give it. But you will now have to fact check and ensure that you're not plagiarizing people's work. Like I said already, I told Abner, how would you feel if after 5 years of writing a thesis and undertaking a research, somebody comes and copies your entire research and only changes your name to their name? So I'm sorry, Jalil, I can't help you. The only thing I can tell you is keep prompting, keep asking questions to get the right answers, and keep rewriting anything you take out of any large language model. Else you will lose your credibility in the research world. Apart from in video AI, are there any other tools a content creator can use that will show motion, voice, converse. There are lots of them, but Abdul Kader, let me also advise you, or let me give you this advice, right? I don't know how well you follow the space. Google and YouTube has come out to say they will no longer monetize AI videos. TikTok, I don't know if TikTok has said anything about that, but if YouTube is already demonetizing AI-based videos, be rest assured that if you use InVideo AI or any of those tools, you won't get paid for it. So you can use it to have fun, but it can't make you any money anymore, starting from, I think, June 2025. How can I use AI to improve my online marketing? First of all, go and create prompts. Now, I would say, Uche, this is a very vague prompt. So if you have been in today's session, you would have to change this your question. How can I use AI to improve my online marketing? You would have to go to any of the large language model tools and say to them, act as a chief marketing officer who uses AI every day. Show me 5 or 10 different ways that I can improve my content marketing online. My line of business is this. So you can ask the AI to create a prompt for you, or you can just tell it this prompt and it will create it. Okay, so I'm going to come back. Let's go back to, I think our video should be done by now. Yes, it's done. Let me see if I'll play it. Let's see how it sounds.
Are you getting useless answers from AI? You type in a simple request and you get something generic and blah. The secret isn't the AI, it's the instructions you give it. That's prompting. Think of it like this. Prompting is how you talk to AI. It's the art of giving clear, specific instructions to get exactly what you want. Instead of write about dogs, you tell it who to be, what to do, and how to do it. The difference is incredible. Mastering this skill will save you hours. If you want to learn how, subscribe for more tips.
I hope everyone heard that. Okay, so I'm sure everyone heard that video. So hopefully you now see how InVideo works. How can I use AI to create an attendance sheet for my employees? Prompting. Just this question you've asked me, throw it into ChatGPT and put more context. You'll get answers. When
I have a question from you. Hello, Mike.
Oh, okay.
From YouTube,
Okay.
I have some question. One Sani Usman is asking, as a teacher in this age, what do I need to focus on with the advent of AI? I think you've mentioned that. Maybe the person missed that. Sani, watch back. If you move back, you can see that AI is here to stay. He said, what's the future for business center owners, as we call them here? You know, we have people here from all over. All over from Jigawa. I have people here from Borno, people here from Zamfara. So, you know, not everybody is from Lagos in coast, so to say. So they are trying to, and that gives them an edge. So he's asking business center owners, if you see that, what is meaning is if you have a small place where they do copy, photocopy, printing, you know, that business, just try to cast your mind back. Yes. So what's the future?
They can start by becoming generative AI training centers. So this course that we are having right now, they can take it. It's a microcosm of something a lot larger. So prompt engineering can be a course, introducing AI can be a course, teaching people Python programming can be a course. So they would have to switch from being a business center to become an AI provision center. You know, if I use that word, the reason why I use the word AI, they have to start provisioning for the world of AI today. That's my submission. So if you just remain as a business center, Those children that come to the business center will one day come out, they are the ones that will take away your job. But if you begin to train them and prepare them for tomorrow, then they will end up becoming the future AI experts. I mean, imagine that tomorrow, I mean, I don't know if everyone here is following what's happening in the world today. Meta is building the Meta Super Intelligence Lab, and every time the CEO of Meta goes to talk to an AI engineer from one industry to another to bring them into Meta, he offers them some very interesting, well-paying amount of salary. So today's world, I would say to anyone, doesn't matter what industry that you are in, you need to jump into the AI bandwagon. I just remember that I promised that I was going to showcase how the Python code that I generated can analyze the New York Stock Exchange. Even though it's a holiday in America today, we can analyze the US stock market to see the top performing stocks or equities in the last 24 hours. So I already asked ChatGPT to generate the code. So these are the codes here. First of all, if I read through this, I'll just skim through this very quickly before we get into the third hour. It helps us to install the libraries. So this command is pip install is installing the Yahoo Finance libraries. It's giving us a library called Pandas to be able to manage the data. And then Matplotlib and Seaborn will be used for visualization. So if I go back to, this is my Google coding environment. If I paste, oh, sorry, I have pasted this before. It's like maybe the second time. I wanted to copy this ones, which is to import. So once I import these libraries are ready for use. Control Enter. So Control Enter helps me to execute them. Then this is where I define these tickers. Just a little bit. I don't want to get too technical, but everyone who buys stocks in New York Stock Exchange looks at what we call they usually go to Yahoo Finance. No, finance.yahoo.com. And they look at tickers. Oh, okay, yeah. So if I go here and I say, give me the ticker for Microsoft. Microsoft is MSFT. It's just basically the code name for Microsoft that they use to trade in the New York Stock Exchange. It's coming. Okay, yes. So now, so this is the ticker for Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin price. It's giving me Bitcoin. I don't want Bitcoin. I want Microsoft. Okay, let me just go here and say MSFT plus ticker. Just want to give everyone, chat, why now? Just take me to the link. Okay, yes. So this is what a ticker symbol, and you can see this even on your mobile phone, right? It shows me that as at 29th, which was a Friday, Microsoft lost about $3, right? Now, well, let's come back here. This is the list of tickers. So just looking at some of the tickers, I know this is Berkshire Hathaway, owned by Warren Buffett. J&J, Johnson & Johnson. Is it 10 major? Okay, let's just use the 10 major. It doesn't really matter. So there are some we don't see here, like Microsoft, Tesla. It really doesn't matter. But we listed the tickers, then we download historical data. I usually do this analysis often, so I know that we no longer need an adjusted close. So, yeah. Let's see if we got any errors. Okay, so the data it's pulled the data down. But I just want to showcase the power of AI. So someone who doesn't even understand Python or who's still learning Python can learn Python very quickly enough to understand how the stock market runs. And the reason why I'm using the New York Stock Exchange, so don't think I'm not patriotic, is because I tried to get data about the NSE. Most of the data needs, I'm not able to get a lot of data, to be honest, and then I have to do a lot of cleaning. But these guys have been doing this over the years, so they're able to give you data that is clean and you don't have to do a lot of data cleansing. So visualization, now I'm going to plot a bar plot to show how that stock is performing in the markets. This usually takes a while. Okay, oh, that's fast. So we can see what the market looks like. So this is the top performing stocks in the last 1 year, right? And this is JP Morgan. This is Disney. Couple of them, all that. Let's just continue. There are some that are not performing so well. They're below 0. But if an investor sees this, it will help them to know where to put their money, or what investments to buy right now in the New York Stock Exchange. But remember, this is based on 1 year data. There's a possibility that if you check today, that data has changed. So this is showing the risk against returns. Then the last thing is the final output, which is print a summary. What the code just does is, I just wanted to showcase this because somebody said AI is not able to do data analysis and visualization. So I wanted to prove to that person that it's not the case. AI is able to analyze stock markets, give you value of returns, and give you extent of volatility. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and then we'll go to the last phase. Sorry, is there a question? It says, if AI models work based on information already provided by humans, how do I also upload my researches on? Okay, cool. Let's do that now, because it doesn't seem like I can run away from that question. So, okay, so let me just do that, and then it will form the foundation of every other thing that we will do. Is there anyone randomly who can give me an industry that they want us to showcase how to upload our data into AI? Who wants to give me that? I need a feedback from someone. Tayo, it could be you. Pastor Fume, it could be you. Anyone.
Well,
You just want to showcase how to upload data into AI.
Okay. Somebody saying fish farming.
Fish farming. Sorry, I don't know much about that industry. I just want something very. I don't want
Well,
to
the
use.
NGO space is there. The NGO space, hospitality.
Okay, great, excellent. Let's use the NGO space. So for the NGOs, let me. So I'm going to open ChatGPT.
Have entertainment industry, travel,
Don't worry,
aviation.
once you mentioned the NGO, I had the perfect thought in my head. So if we go to the United Nations SDGs, there are 17 of them. I just asked UN SDGs. Okay. Yes, I want the link. So let's say.
Be assured people are here. I'm saying fashion design, people are just here. They are still very glued there. No problem.
Okay. I want to just speak to something that is really practical so that, everyone, but what I'm showcasing right now, anyone and everyone can take that and go implement. And like I agreed, Tayo, I said, after this session, we can have a session where everything that we've done today, anyone wants to try their hands at it. And if they get stuck or have any issues and need clarifications, we can have another session where we'll come back again and I will provide clarity.
Yes.
So let's say we want to fix quality education, because I've had a lot of questions coming from academia. So we go to the UN SDG 4. The goal for says ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Now, if I go to the United Nations website, that discusses this. There will certainly be documentations that they would have provided. So we've got pictures here, shows 109 million children in school, 272 million children out of school. Hopefully, okay, I can download that image. I want to see if there's any document. Okay, so excellent. There are some publications here. This is a publication. I would just click this, and click this. I just need only one documentation, but I just want everyone to see. So I have this. I would download, save image as. Okay, so yeah, 2025 SDG. So I'll keep that. Next one. Oh, I thought this was going to be a PDF document. Let's see. Oh, okay, yes. Download the report. So I've downloaded this report. It's a PDF document. Let's see how many pages it is. 22 pages. Okay, so I just download that. Okay, I think I just need one document just to illustrate this, right? Now, so I have documents from the UN SDG that will help us fix the problem of SDG 4, which is inequality in education or lack of education. So I go back to my ChatGPT. I would open my sidebar and I would go to GPTs. Now, GPTs allow you to create your own custom version of ChatGPT that allows you to combine instructions, your documents, and every other information. So I would configure a new GPT. And I will call my GPT Fixing UNSDG 4 Problems on Education. Okay, so what is my description? I can just copy the same name of the GPT and call it description. What are the instructions? Review uploaded documents and check UN SDG website to ensure that we provide answers to everyday education challenges. I can keep adding instructions. There's no limit to my instructions, right? Anytime I want to modify, I can always come back here. Now, what are my conversation starters? How may we fix education inequality or inequalities in the world? What kind of lifelong learning approach should we follow? I can say, give me a roadmap for teaching financial education as a means to fixing UNSDG 4. So there's no goal for. There's no limit to instructions you can have, right? Now, for knowledge, this is now where I would upload my documents. Remember, we have this picture. We've got that report that we got from the United Nations. So we throw in those documents, and then we can pick a recommended model. In my case, I want to pick, let me pick GPT 4.0. Okay, but there's no harm in, and what do I want to do? Do I want to go on the internet? If I wanted to go to the internet and search the internet, I would check web search. Do I want to use a canvas? Canvas allows you to make changes to your question, keep changing, and it will keep generating and prompting. Do I want it to generate images? Yes or no? I will check it so that it generates image. Do I want it to do analysis, data analysis, write code? So that's why, like I told the gentleman that was saying AI cannot do data analysis. It's not true. It exists today, right? So you can allow ChatGPT to run code, right? Now, we're done here with this. Now, once I finish this, I then go here and I tell the model create. Now it gives me an option. Do I want to be the only one using this? Do I want to keep it on the GPT store and put it up for sale? Well, not for sale, but for use. And people will pay me a minimum fee of $1. It's up to me. Or do I want to be the only one who uses it? Or I can share it with anyone. And in this context, I would say anyone with the link, because I want to prove to everyone that this is whatever I'm sharing right now is usable. And I'll share the link, but maybe immediately after the session, I'll just disable it. So the GPT is published and I can view the GPT. Okay. I think it's ready now. So it's ready now. Yeah. And see, so whenever you want to use your large language model to get answers, you have to create a GPT and then personalize it. I would share this GPT right away with, let me share it with you, Tayo. You can just try it out and see. There's it now. Yeah, I just shared it with you. You can try opening it and see if it opens in your own end. Then you can share with anyone. But that's really how it works. So if I go to it and click this, my question, what kind of lifelong learning approach should we follow? You see, it is saying based on the 2024 report, it says start with building strong foundations, start with early learning, invest in quality early childhood education, basic literacy and numeracy, provide continuous learning beyond formal education. Every stage counts. Ensure inclusiveness and equity. Make learning flexible and accessible. Invest in teachers. Very important. Support peer learning. Embrace innovation and technology. But you see that it's giving me responses based on the documents that I have uploaded into the large language model. So that's why I say for anyone who wants to leverage these tools, you just have to know how to build the right GPT. And it leaves us with some living guide principles. Leave no one behind, learn for sustainability, treat education as a public good. So I hope I've been able to answer that question that everyone was asking regarding how to upload their own research and modifications into the AI and how to make it accessible to others. For any of your industry, for those that is into travel, you need to go and get documentations on aviation that you want LLM to answer. Because right now, the data that is on the LLM is not enough data to give you an overview of your industry, especially bearing in fact that it's probably not training the large language model on data of Nigerian travel aviation information. So that's basically how this works. Okay, so let me see if we can still, let's see. Okay, so let's talk about do's and don'ts of AI, and we'll start calling it in. My slides. Okay. 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 So I know we've gotten a lot of questions about when to use AI, when not to use AI. So I just think we should speak to this slide. Always check out your output. Be sure it's accurate and there are no hallucinations. AI always hallucinates. Make no mistakes about this. Use AI as your first draft. And then go from first draft to second draft, third draft, if you want to even get up to 10th draft, AI cannot be your final product. Give it clear context, give it clear constraints, and keep learning about the capabilities of AI as well as its limitations. Document parts of your work where you use AI and be transparent. If you use AI, follow your team. I used AI to generate the codes, but when I was writing the codes, I got some errors and then I had to modify those errors to be able to ensure that it works. We already said this, don't share confidential data with AI. So don't put any data that links back to your postal code, your house address, your telephone number. No, don't do that. Also use AI, don't use AI for critical decisions, like without having like you can't be a medical doctor and say, oh, I want to perform a surgery and this is how I want to do it. What do you think? AI will tell you, okay. When you get into the surgery and then it doesn't go according to how AI has recommended, you have to make alternative plans. And that's when you start to sweat in the operating room. I hope that doesn't happen anyway. Don't rely on AI for accurate citations. So you've written an article, you cite. A professor once told me this. He said a student did an assignment and the student's citation cited a paper that the professor had not written with the professor's name. So the professor read the article, read the assignment, had already given the student an A, was going through the references and saw his name, say, when did I write this paper? And he went online out of curiosity and started looking for the paper he never wrote. So he came back and gave the student an F. If the student had just fact-checked with as little as a Google search, they would have been safe. Don't present work that you did with AI completely as your own. It's not research. It's just copy-paste. And don't assume that AI understands everything without explanation. So these are the do's and don'ts, really. But I think the most important thing here is that if after today you want to remain relevant, you must set aside 15 to 30 minutes, I would say every day, to experiment with what you know now. And focus on how AI can enhance your expertise. So if you are a trader in the stock market, you can look at how you can use AI to do some advanced research. If you are a software developer, you can look at how AI can help you write better code. Or if you're a developer or a website designer, or you want to learn website design or any of those tools, you can go and take those codes you see online that looks impossible and ask AI to interpret it and make meaning to you. And I was telling someone I started doing a lot of things with finance and financial engineering, and at the time when I started, I really didn't know much about the stock market, really didn't know much about stocks, options, derivatives. But today I'm writing codes in that space, probably just because I kept an open mind. So join communities. This session is already a community. Don't stop here. Go online, look for communities that can help you to get better at writing code or understanding prompt engineering. The most valuable skill today is you becoming an effective AI collaborator who knows when and how to use these tools as part of your daily workflow. So I hope with these few points of mine, I have been able to showcase what you need today to become an AI-powered professional. If you want, you can say become a ChatGPT super user, or how to become a user at prompt engineering. Thank you very much. I'm going to share the slides with Tayo, and if you want to go back and do some self-study, there's some prompts here. I put some prompt engineering frameworks, so it's not only role, action, context, and explanation. You can also go with context, action, result, and example, but you have everything. This is the slide that I use to teach courses on AI engineering, AI essentials, my apologies. So
Wow.
I hope that this session has been able to provide answers to.
This session has provided more than answers. Apart from being a roadmap, it also helped us to see possibilities. And you have made it very simple. I'm so sorry I asked people to mute, but I can allow one person to talk if you indicate by raising your hand. So you can just give us a feedback. Just indicate. Okay, there's a Suleiman just giving a thumbs up. Okay, Abubakar. Okay, we just admitted him. I think people have learned a lot, and we would like a second. Okay, let's hear from Fidelis. We'll unmute Fidelis and talk for just 20 seconds.
Good evening.
Good evening, Fidelis. Where are you from?
Okay, I'm right in Jos here.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay, I'm really grateful for this opportunity because I've been using ChatGPT for a while, but the exposure tonight is awesome. In fact, I've not seen it this way before. Um, I do a whole lot of, research along with ChatGPT, but the way the doctor brought it tonight was, oh my God, it was awesome. I'm really grateful and I'm excited I was able to partake of this training. I really look forward to another edition because there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to the organizers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. Yeah, we'd like to have some more, but this is what we're going to do. Dr. Mike, can you give us assignment? Let all of us go do something. Whoever does it then will qualify to be in the room with you again.
Absolutely.
So, because, people just say, come on, this is 3 hours already. I can't believe it. In the next 10 minutes, it will be 3 hours. So
Yeah.
what can we do? You can send in the questions. We'll send it to the group.
Yeah.
And then we'll see yes. And then we can look at, you said we may be able to do something on the 29th?
No, 30th. 30th is
30th, on the 30th of September. Then we can have
I
a
need to
part
check because I think it's
Okay.
a national holiday for Truth and
Okay.
Reconciliation, but I just need to check to see
if you'll be available.
I
Yes.
should be. But
So all of you in the room, we have your emails, and we're going to send a follow-up. We're also going to let you, if you have questions, you can be that. Send the assignments. Let's do this. Because if this is the way the world is going, we all have to move on with it. If not, we'll be left behind. Dr. Mike Onuorah, thank you so very much. Thank you for your support for Whitefield Foundation. Thank you. Industry 4.0 is still one of our best audited courses. Thank you for all you do for us. And for all the participants, please, can you share your experience with us, by email? Yes, even on our YouTube channel. Let's know what your experience is in this class, and your suggestions and recommendations will be given consideration as well. Thank you, all of you. As we sign out now, Sani Usman Yusuf Wasiu, I'm saying thank you. And we have quite a few people on YouTube as well. Thank you. Abdul Rashid Abdul Aziz. Thank you. Janet Ajibade. Thank you. Kan O. Okay. And I want to advise you, we have a Samsung SM. Name your device. It makes it easier for you to be reckoned as a person. I was talking to a customer service, and it was actually AI responding, and the AI had a name. He said, I am Nathan, and I know it wasn't Nathan talking to me. So Fumi, Vicky, Suberu, we're saying thank you for joining. So tentatively, we may be having another class on the 30th of September. We'll communicate. Thank you and have a great evening. Dr. Mike, thank you. We have enjoyed this thoroughly. You've made it so simple. This is what we should call it, demystifying AI. There is Morakin Yolaolu. That's from Lagos. Oh, finally, we have someone from Lagos. We have Adamu Muhammad. Thank you. Thank you. Augustine, thank you. Have a great evening and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Whoa, Chikazulu Ezeude. Okay.
Dr. Mike.
Dr. Mike, thank you. Wow, you were phenomenal. But you took it so easy. You were so calm.
That's fine. So the reason why I was I always, when I started my master's in AI, right? One of the challenges that we faced was we were learning this concept, like all of us in class, we built a deep learning model from ground zero. So I could relate with, building each layer, building the neural networks, passing the sigmoid function. But I used to ask myself, I said, look, this thing that we're doing, what business problem does it solve?
Does it solve?
Yes. And every time I asked that question, in fact, my classmates always used to say, because I was a class learning officer, it was a title that I appointed myself, and my goal was to make sure that everyone in the class learned along. So if we find anyone who is stuck,
who is lagging behind, yeah,
we never left anyone behind.
Wow.
And in the history of the university, we had a set where maybe number of people who dropped out was less than 5. And that was because they chose to leave. And I don't think anyone, on a grade point of 4, I don't think anyone got a grade point of less than 3.
Come on.
Because what we did was, our first motto was no one will be left behind. We wanted to know, we let everyone know that coming into AI, you had the option of going into academia, you could go into policy, government making. A lot of my classmates have gone into government. They are the ones who are crafting AI policies today. And we all came from very unique backgrounds. I had a bachelor's in geography. I had self-taught myself Python. I was teaching my kids Python at the time I applied. That was what qualified me for the master's program.
Come on.
So that's why.
But is it too old for me? It's too late.
It's not. It's not. We had a 66-year-old man in my class, and he almost had a 4.0. Matter of fact, the best graduating guy in our class was in his late 50s. Because he used to say to us that while we had responsibilities, all his kids had gotten married and they were gone. He was a grandfather. So he had ample time to study.
So what's the basic thing I can start learning now in the Python?
So there's a website called w3schools.com. Let me share it here. The guy he's done extensive work, not only Python, he's literally taught every language that exists in the world today. w3schools.com.
w3schools.com.
Yeah, I just shared it on the chat. I don't know if the chat's okay, sorry. Yeah, so if you go to that website,
w3schools.com, okay.
The way the guy, if you follow his Python lectures, you'll be an expert in Python.
Okay. Okay. I mean, maybe on some holidays I can just sit down because I want to re-engineer myself. Tayo and Sheon, they are making me look like I don't know anything. So I need to.
W3, but even if you don't yourself stress, man, just go to ChatGPT and tell it to create a 30-day series of 30-day classes that will prepare you from Python 0 to Python hero.
Someone say, please, how can we get the prompt links, please?
No, just go to ChatGPT and say, create a prompt that helps me. So if you tell ChatGPT to create a prompt, it will then use all the lingua of role playing, creating a persona. So don't just go to ChatGPT and say, teach me Python. If you were doing that before,
at least we've learned that you need to
Yeah.
be able to say something that is very specific.
Very specific. And then my current dissertation research now is on AI agents. The challenge with AI agents is autonomous robots. Like you tell the AI, go do this, go and analyze the stock market and give me the hourly pricing. It's a specific instruction. If you just say, give me hourly list of prices in the stock market, if you add another condition, the AI will go berserk. Because it's still, in its thinking, it is still narrow. And the truth is, we are still in the face of artificial narrow intelligence without making it very difficult. Just narrow down. Am I frozen again? So what's wrong with my PC today?
Is it the internet? His own. Oh, it's from you.
Yeah, I think it's from me. Yeah. So the boys are. I think Brian has started building his game. So once he starts doing that, my internet starts.
Mikey, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm going to also see what I can do. So I would make sure I do the assignment, and then we'll confirm.
I would
if the
create something and
subject
send
would
to
work.
Tayo, but you just be practical. Just take your industry or take anything that provokes you or annoys you.
Okay.
That how to use generative AI to create 10 prompts to fix it.
Thank you so much. We've taken a lot of your time. Thank you. And you spoke